This is a podcast about offence and all its ingredients, let's just say. So, in the past, I've been quite reactive when it comes to people saying things that I haven't liked or have been offensive. And I've pretty much stood my ground and I've said, hey, you know what? This is what you've done. This is how I feel about it. And the reactions that have ricocheted from my reaction initially by just standing there and being honest and saying, you know what, you've actually really hurt me, or this is how I feel about what you've just done, have caused ruptures or volcanoes or flipping earthquakes. You know, and as I've got older, I've expected there not to be earthquakes. I've expected to be able to stand and say what it is that's wrong, talk about it, maybe even argue about it, and then get over it. And I think what I've found recently, and I'm not the only person who's found this, I've found that there have been no ways to actually resolve. There's been no resolution. So people have taken offence over things that I haven't even known that I've done. People have said things that really just cause bitterness in other people or cause a reaction in other people. And then other people will look for a fault. And I think that's it. When you're looking for faults in people, then the real trouble starts. Now, I'll give you an example of something that happened to me recently. About 6 weeks ago, maybe slightly less, a friend of mine that I've known since I was 7 years old mentioned that she felt that I was full of demons. So I said, well, okay, if that's what you see, thank you for telling me. I don't agree, but, you know, that's fine. And then this person said that they wanted to cure me of these demons and entities that they saw in me. And I said, you know, kind of jokingly, yeah, sure, knock yourself out. Go ahead, be my guest. At which point there was a prescription, which I was not prepared to allow, because certainly don't want people interfering with my energy and my biofield and my heart and soul. Unless I ask for it, then I find that a little bit imposing, especially if I know what's going on in myself. So, thank you very much, but no thank you was the response from me. At which point offence was taken and probably ricocheted. And I probably took a bit of offence as well, because I thought, bloody hell, going around telling people I'm full of demons, no thank you. That's a bit much. And so I stood my ground and I said, no thank you, and that's a bit much. And then that was the end of that conversation, and really kind of the end of a very long line of things like that. And so I thought to myself, well, you know what, I'm just going to leave this. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to react. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to wait. And so after waiting about a month, I kind of forgot that I was waiting. I wasn't really waiting. I just let go. I just let it go. A very long apology arrived, and a very sweet apology. And I looked at it and read it and thought, well, that's very sweet. And I waited again. I waited until there was just no sort of reaction in me at all. Nothing moved, you know. It's like there was no bitterness or upset or offence from before. I'd let that go. There was no bad feeling, and consequently also no sort of feeling the other way. It was just kind of like, well, it just is what it is, and it's not my dance. And so I thought, about it, and I thought, well, there's nothing really much I can say. Words don't really say it. It's not really about words, it's about a feeling. And so instead of actually saying anything, because words just aren't enough, I thought, well, what's my favourite, most funny looking animal? And I have a thing for dromedaries. I really love camels. I think they are the funniest looking creatures, and they're so intelligent and wonderful and marvellous. I just love looking at them. They make me smile. And I thought, well, I'm just going to send some humour back, because we're all human. And humour and human go together, because I think it's the best way for us to deal with each other when we're messing up, and we all do. We all mess up. We all get it wrong, or take offence, or just act like kids, or whatever. So I sent the funniest gif I could find of a camel chewing with funny teeth sticking out and a really funny face. Well, I thought so anyway. And I think you'd have to be really sterile emotionally not to laugh at that, because it's just so hilarious. And so I sent that back, and I'm sure that it was received well, because ultimately, we do things and we say things and we try things, and sometimes we're just going to get it really wrong, and we're going to be out of line, and it's okay. It's okay. It's okay not to be on the same page. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to argue. It's okay to just get to the point where, you can look at your friend and you can say, oh, stop being such a wanker, and not be offended. And, it's like, yes, there are social graces. Yes, there's a social veneer. Yes, all of that stuff. And yes, sometimes that has to be penetrated and scraped off in order to get to the heart of something. But if somebody is feeling, if somebody is feeling betrayed or upset or just disagrees about something, so what? So you're going to get the knives out? So you're going to get the keep your tongue in the knife drawer? Is that what you're going to do? Just because you disagree with somebody? Are you going to agree with somebody all the time? Is somebody going to get on your nerves sometimes? Yes, of course. But the worst thing you can do is take offence. You see things for what they are. Are they a bit of an arsehole? Yes, maybe they are a bit of an arsehole. So what? Sometimes, if you've got the kind of friendship which is open and frank, you can say, look, stop being an arsehole, and then I'll talk to you. And it's okay, because it's just energy, isn't it? We're all dealing with our own energy and the energies of the earth and the energies that are coming in and out. And oh my gosh, sometimes the energy flows, sometimes it's blocked, sometimes it repels each other, positive and negative. Sometimes it attracts, and sometimes people just get it really, really wrong. What are we going to do? Not forgive? What are we going to do? Just carry on the nonsense again and again and again? Not talking to you. It's like recently people have taken offence because I have not been in touch with them. Well, actually I've been going through huge shifts and inner changes. Like massive, huge. And I haven't got time to be dealing with anybody else's stuff. I've got to deal with my own stuff, And it's like, and so now they're offended and upset and hurt. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? I've just been living my life, because I don't text you back straight away, or because I haven't received your texts, or this or that or the other. Oh my God, are we in the playground? Are we in the playground? Are we ever actually going to get over ourselves? Are we going to get over ourselves and each other and learn how to actually be graceful towards each other even when we're being disgraceful? Are we? Or are we just going to carry on the same old shit that we always do? Because that's the game that we're playing. That's the repetition. That's what makes us feel secure when we fall into self-pity or victim or feed off our own energy of despair and loneliness. Is that what we're doing? Or are we actually going to, stand up, take responsibility for ourselves, and to be, to be, être, to be, and conjugate that verb. The art of being, the art of communication, the art of talking to each other, soul to soul. There are plenty of people in this life who have really disliked me. And, I can understand why. I mean, I have to live with myself every day. It's not easy sometimes. But heck, where's the compassion? Where's the compassion? I'm getting to an age now where, thankfully, there's more compassion than offence. And I can just say from where I stand that if you can't take somebody telling their truth, then don't dish it out. If you can't take somebody responding, not perhaps in the way that you expect, don't dish it out. Be prepared to allow difference, to allow a different response to come from somebody, something that you wouldn't do necessarily, and then perhaps reply with grace by not taking offence. Or if you do, just, be honest about it. Say, you know what, but it's only offence. It's only mild energy vibrating in a different way. It's not exactly a torrent, is it? Offence. Unless we turn it into a whirlpool or a torrent. And then what happens? We end up killing each other. No, isn't it time for the human race to actually face up to itself and grow up a little bit and stop acting like kids so that we can actually unite and command the benediction. Bene, good. Diction, dictare. Speak goodness. Speak life. Speak life to each other, not death. The power of life and death are held within the tongue, and those who love it eat its fruits. One of my favourite passages. So that's probably a good place to end. So okay, if the fruit is rotten, don't eat it. Yeah? Don't eat it. It's like, okay, somebody's spouting out crappy things. You don't have to eat it. If you eat it, you get poisoned by it. So the thing is, here's an example of what can happen when you're not honest with somebody. There was a waitress working at the place where my daughter has been working. And she had just started there, and she was all smiley and very sweet. And my daughter came in about an hour after she had been working her first shift, this new girl. And my daughter noticed immediately that she had a piece of green spinach across her front teeth, and it looked terrible. And nobody had told her that she had this spinach on her teeth, and she'd be going up to customers, taking their orders, smiling, thinking that everything was lovely, with this green piece of spinach across her teeth. Great. So my daughter, who is not yet 16, and everybody else she's working with is over 18, went up to this new girl and very quietly and sweetly said, did you know you've got a piece of spinach right across your front teeth? She went and cleaned herself up and came back and thanked my daughter for being so honest with her, and was shocked to think that none of the other people she was working with had the courage to say, do you know? And I think the thing is that if there's something glaringly obvious in our lives which is causing an awkwardness in other people, you know, taking spinach across the teeth as a metaphor for, you know, something which is kind of like really not right in our lives, and everybody else can see it, but you don't know. You need people around you who've got enough courage to say, you know what, you're a bit of a whatnot, and we all know it, and you don't, and I just feel like it's really important to tell you. You know, if you don't get this honesty from the people around you, and if you're not in a place where you can look in the mirror and you can say, oh my God, look at that. Yeah, there's a huge, great big piece of green spinach across my teeth, and I didn't know, metaphorically speaking, then where are you at? Where are we at? It's like one of the greatest gifts is having a child, and my child has said to me on numerous occasions things about me to me that I have had to say, you know what, you really do have a point there. I think one of the most wonderful things she said was when we were having an argument about something, if I was losing the argument, I would be emotionally manipulative by bringing up something from the past and saying, oh yes, and by the way. And it's like, oh my gosh, am I really that vile? Am I really that immature that I would do that? And it was actually really quite embarrassing to have somebody who was 14 say, Mum, that's just really not on. Did you see what you did there? And I had to admit that she really was right, and I was a 10-year-old kid in that moment, maybe probably actually more like 4-year-old kid, let's be honest, who was losing an argument and wanted to cause a problem. You know, I'll win even if I have to hurt you to do so. You know, there's that horrible side of human nature. And I was so grateful. Seriously, I was so grateful. And it means that my job was done, because I obviously brought her up well enough, she says, taking the credit. Well, I've got to have something here. She redeemed me. She allowed me to see what an absolute twit I was being. What an absolute twit. And I really thank her for that. And to have that love, to have that patience and wisdom and comprehension of another person's soul, to see that the other person must be hurting in some way in order to be lashing out like that. She's taught me that. Now, aren't we all here to teach each other lessons in grace and love and compassion and wisdom and inner standing? You know, my greatest teacher has been my daughter, right the way from the beginning to this moment and beyond. And when you love somebody that much and they pick you up on something that you're doing that really you should have been picked up on, in love and inner standing and wisdom, then you take it seriously and change. And she has caused that deep change and healing inside me, because I was hurting so badly for all sorts of reasons, from nonsense that was undealt with, and repeating. And isn't that what we're here for? Isn't it time that we all helped each other to heal from the trauma of life? Has not life been traumatic for all of us? For our parents who were post-war. My father was born in 1941 and spent his childhood on bomb sites, growing up with his mother absent, living with his grandmother in a hovel somewhere, I don't know. And I don't know if he ever really got over that. And yes, he had an incredible, varied life full of wild experiences. And his expression of his soul came out through his music, which was beautiful and painful. And that transferred to me, and I spent most of my life as a musician expressing the ancestral pain through my music, until I realized deeply that my purpose was not just music, that music was to serve a purpose for a higher good, for divinity. And then my orientation changed and my focus changed and my expression became different, and now I can't actually express anything other than gratitude and praise for creation. And I would like to be able to sing a song, a secular song, but I just can't. I have no words to express the awe in which I find myself. So, going back to honesty and the sorting of energy, the decision to not take offence. Wow. Imagine a world where we could just say whatever it was and the other person didn't take offence. So, Palestine and Israel. Each side said what they felt and neither side took offence. How powerful would that be? How amazing would that be? Because you'd be so strong in truth and so strong in divinity that nothing could shake you. Because that universal truth that universal wisdom, those eternal values, don't have a copyright or a trademark. And they are free for all of us. And they are a decision away. There are many things that I'd like to include in this podcast, because there are so many experiences that I could relate. But I do know that a lot of people are going through this at the moment, where there's some kind of filtration system that is in place, filtering out people who are energetically not on the same bandwidth. A lot of my friends have disappeared, and I've found new friends who are more honest, who, if we piss each other off, we say, you know what, you've really pissed me off, shall we work on this? And we're doing the inner work, we're doing the shifting, and we're raising and expanding our consciousness, and sometimes it's really painful to do so. But we don't know if when a flower blooms, when the petal grows or expands, that we don't know if the flower feels pain or not. But I tell you what, I bet they do in some way, because, you know, as you're growing your roots down and you're blossoming in the treetops, it's probably quite a painful thing to do, you know. Or if you're expanding your tent pegs or enlarging your life or expanding your consciousness in some way, sometimes when you don't let go, it's painful. Or if your body is saying, oh, I need to be doing something different here, I need to be a vessel that moves more smoothly through the water. You know, sometimes it's quite hard, isn't it, to let go, or to go the way that the water is taking you. Swimming against your own tide is exhausting. So I think that it's time to reconcile to ourselves and go with our inner waters, to go with the flow of our true heart and soul.